What are some other wins? WIN. What's important now? Things that you have accomplished, things you've done, things that you are proud of, small wins, big wins.
I'll go, man. I started a new contract for the Housing Authority.
Okay.
It was awarded last month, and we started it. And man, I took some time to train the guys that I recently brought on, two new employees, and train with them for 2 days.
Okay.
And it was something that wasn't always my practice.
Yeah.
You interview and then send them out with someone else. But I took the time and went over some safety, and sort of gave them goal is and expectations of the company, and just spent some time building with them. And then I went out with them the first day of the contract,
Okay.
and so starting to build relationships. And one of the guys said, yo, Rob, you call me that. Rob, I didn't know you get it in too. And I'm like, so doing that made me feel good, man. And I believe that let them know I'm in the trenches with them.
Okay.
So that was a lesson in me this week. And on the marital side, man, just resolving conflict.
Yeah.
A little faster. I've known to be petty.
Come on now. No. Say it ain't so.
So man, just growing and allowing differences not to stipend the way I feel or my public expression towards you.
Mm.
And man, respecting her opinion.
Yeah.
And even if it differs, it's just we differ.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right? And not taking that thing personal, man. So, Steph, I don't know if you read the book, Let Him Be.
I haven't, I need to, man. My mom told me about it. She's like, yo, you need to read this. Mel Robbins.
Yeah, man. Yo, it's helping. Just let people be, bro.
Let them.
It's very simple.
Listen, I'm gonna download it today. I'm gonna start listening to it.
Yeah, so that was it, man.
Excellent.
See Gregory Porter, bro. I don't know if you ever seen him, man.
Yeah, the jazz player.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, phenomenal.
Man, we went Sunday.
Come on.
Man, bro, it was just great. Had had a couple came up from Virginia. We just hung out their anniversary.
Okay.
Just had that good time, good experience. With them.
Let's go.
Good food, laughter. So man, it was a good week.
Those are some wins. Those are some wins.
Yeah.
Listen, I receive it. Listen, we're gonna dive in. We are starting off Q3. We talked about this on Sunday during our Sunday call. We started off Q3. And each of you who were on our Sunday call, you gave me goals that you want to work towards, right? So we talked about, securing your income. Sam, you were going to have the conversation with your family, and I think you did. You texted me that you did, right? So that's excellent, right? Embracing self-care. We talked about, SJ finishing the screenplay, get on set. We talked about networking more. So if you have not set your big 3 goals for the next 12 weeks, for the next 3 months, I want you to do that. Write it down, put it on a board, put it somewhere where you can see it regularly. Keep it on the forefront of your mind, right? What happens inevitably for all of us is we'll start like week 1, good, week 2, okay, week 3, we fall off. And so you have to sticky notes. I write mine on sticky notes and I put them right on the bottom of my computer. And then as I get closer to them, as I'm knocking them off, I just take it off and I throw it away, right? Because I just need to see it like this is what you're working towards, right? So whatever system you need, I want to make sure that you have your 3 big goals for this week. And once you get those big 3 goals, I want you to text them to me, right? So Ed, I'm still waiting for yours. Simone, I'm still waiting for yours. Sam, I got yours unless you want to update them. SJ, I got yours. And then I know Fiona gave me hers. Just Jason gave me his. Kyle gave me his. So I want to make sure I'm getting these from you. Today, I want to dive into what I have been personally struggling with, right? This is going to be a personal session. What I have been personally struggling with, and I figure if I'm struggling with it, somebody else is probably struggling with it as well. So I'm going to share my screen and let me pin this here. What I have come to understand in life and in success is that the essence of success is not about doing more. It's really about doing less. The essence of success in any area of your life is not about doing more. It's actually about doing less. Daily, let me write it like this. Daily decrease is greater than, my writing is just like horrible. Greater than daily increase. So what I want you to think about as we are heading into Q3 is I want you to think about what is one thing you need to stop doing.
What's that, daily what?
You can't understand my handwriting, brother? Listen, I should have been a medical doctor. Daily decrease.
Okay.
Daily decrease is greater than daily increase. It is essentially it's the essence of less is more. And I think we know that cognitively. We might even know that intuitively. But for some reason in my life and possibly in your life, we have the habit, we have the tendency, we have the temptation to constantly add more things. And what I want you to do is I want you to think long and hard about your most important goals over the next 3 months. And I want you to think long and hard around what do I need to stop doing? And, you might throw in some there might be some habits. Like I need to stop staying up late, right? I need to stop eating sugar. I need to stop, smoking. I need to stop, doing some habits that you think are, or that are not productive and not drawing you closer to your goal. Like those are, yes, that's a category that we also need to be aware of, consider. But I also want you to think about what are some of the things that you're doing that by the end of Q3, you no longer need to be doing. What are some projects you're working on? Maybe you've taken on another project. Maybe you decided to go back to get another certification. Maybe you started a renovation project. Like maybe there's something in your world that you're saying that you've added to your plate. And what I want to suggest to you is that when you add it to your plate, if it is not directly connected to your big three, what inevitably happens is you will experience diminishing returns. So the more you add, it's actually preventing you from truly going forward and accomplishing what it is you want to accomplish. You think it might be helping you, but it's actually not. There was a podcast that I just listened to which kind of reiterated this for me, and I'll drop the link in the chat in just a minute. There was a podcast I was listening to, and the gentleman who was being interviewed, he said something that was really interesting. He was talking about Steve Jobs. I'll drop the link in the chat right now. He was talking about Steve Jobs, and what he said was that Steve Jobs' ability to get so much done was because what he would do is he would focus on the most important 3 things he had to get done over the next 12 to 18 hours. So what are the most important three things you have to get done over the next 12 to 18 hours, right? The next day, day and a half. The most important things. And all of your energy, what he would suggest is all of your energy, or 80% of your energy, needs to go into those three things. And he used the word signal. He said 80% of your energy needs to go into moving the needle in for those three things. 20% of your energy goes into what he called noise. And noise is anything that falls outside of those three things. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to think about what are the three most important things that you need to get done over the next 12 to 18 hours, right? Tomorrow's a holiday. We understand that. But maybe even, rewind and do some hindsight. When you think back about the last 24 hours, what were the three most important things that you needed to get done? Did you get them done? How much of your time did you spend on moving the needle for them, signal, versus how much of your time did you spend on noise? Noise would be anything that is distracting you from moving the needle for those three things. Make sense? Yes. Yes. Noise. Noise is irrelevant, distracting information that doesn't move you closer to your goal. Checking email, meetings without purpose, tasks that feel urgent but that are not important, right? Opinions that don't align with your values, right? Noise drains your energy, scatters your focus, keeps you busy but unproductive. Whereas signal is clear, meaningful information or activity that directly supports your priorities and your goals, right? So what were the three most important things, or just think about one or two of the most important things you had to do over this last 18 hours? How much of your time did you spend on signal? How much of your time did you spend on noise? I would argue, at least when I look at my life, sometimes it looks like 50-50. Sometimes it looks like 20 on signal and 80 on noise. Sometimes it looks like and a lot of times this noise is designed to be a distraction from the signal. You need to finish that report. Ed, you need to finish that estate planning, right? You need to get that thing done. But there's something about it. Like you just hit the wall, right? It's an emotional burden, right? You're just overthinking it. And so you delay, procrastinate, and you engage in irrelevant, right? Distracting initiatives that aren't necessarily moving you closer to your goal. Does this make sense? So think about a goal. What was the most important goal over the last or going forward the next 18 to 24 months that for you need to get these things done?
For me, okay, the nonprofit has been taking a lot of my time creating curriculum, which is done, but also now getting the finances, my finances prepared for the bank.
Yep.
So having all three, profit and loss balance, and the other one. So yeah, so that's been something I needed to do. That's kind of, I'm at that wall as well, and that if that doesn't get done, I won't be able to purchase a building.
Right.
So,
Right.
um,
So
yeah.
so so we're saying to ourselves, okay, this is the most important thing. So what we do is we write it down on a sticky note. The most important things that you need to get done over the next 18 to 12 to 18 hours. You write down those 3 things, no more than 5 things, on a sticky note. You put it on the edge of your computer, your desk, your working desk. You put it somewhere where you're going to see it. And then as you are going throughout your day, you're asking yourself, what activity am I engaged in right now that is actually moving the needle for these things? And there's a lot of satisfaction when you can actually get it done. You can grab it off of your computer and you can throw it in the trash. Because you know I did the most important thing. And if every day I can just I can identify and focus on the most important thing that I need to be working on over the next 12 to 18 hours, I will start to see the momentum moving in my life.
Steph, and this is the years of um, putting out fires. What made me feel like I was being productive,
Yep.
but it wasn't moving the needle. It was just putting out the fire, right?
Yep.
And like so many years, I just thought that was like productive.
Yep.
So now, like sometimes I default to that. So now, like I'll be all over because I feel like I did a lot,
Yep.
but I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Yep.
This, right? Like yeah. So I'm working. I'm overcoming that.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's what we call, and I've talked about this a while ago. And Jason, if you need to jump in, go ahead and jump in.
No, this actually is really clear for me. I actually already do like a checklist almost,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess the next level is just making it more focused in terms of most important.
Yep.
So, like for instance, the message you had sent me this week about Amazon, like that went on the list.
Mm.
Knocked it off. Was able to find out what the issue was. But yeah, it moved to the top of the list, and I'm kind of trying not to make the list too long.
Yep.
Put too many things on the list.
Yep.
That's what I'm taking away from this for me, because I'm already doing the running checklist. It's just a matter of making sure I'm really looking at it and making sure what's important in the next 24-hour window.
Yep.
I think that's helpful. Yeah.
One of the most important things that you can do, let me come full screen so you can see me. One of the most important things that you can do, I did this recently, is you go to Amazon. Where's my full screen? You go to Amazon and you buy one of these things right here. Have you seen this thing right here? You know what this is? Right. It's a little timer. Right. And the reason you do this and not your phone is because your phone got Instagram on it, Twitter, Threads, Facebook, LinkedIn. And the moment you pick up your phone, you're going to start swiping. Right. This is a little timer. Right. It's just go to Amazon and type in timer, desk timer. And the bottom spins or the middle spins. So as it spins, you can add minutes and seconds to it. Right. And you set however long. You hit the button, and then it counts down. And you can see it counting down. And it just starts counting down. And I do this whenever I say, okay, I have one of my 3 things that I'm working on right now. I will literally set 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hit the timer, and say, I have to work on this for the next 45 minutes. I cannot pick up my phone. I cannot check my email. I can't scroll anywhere. Like, this is the most important thing. And I'm going to time block for 45 minutes. I also use this for my meditation. So one of my goals for July, and I'm just doing 1 month at a time, one of my goals for July is to spend 30 minutes a day in silence and solitude, meditating, not listening to music, not reading the Bible, not even just really praying, but just really wanting to sit in silence, letting my thoughts just kind of drift, focusing on my breathing. Yes, kind of talking to God, but not making it a prayer session, right? But just wanting to like decompress. And so I'll set this for 30 minutes. I did it today. I open my window, I sit down, I put my feet on the floor, I'll light a candle, and I just sit and just breathe and just focus on my breathing and just notice whatever emerges, whatever comes up, right? So I can't use my phone because the moment I use my phone, the phone's there, I'm tempted to pick it up and I get a notification and then I'm distracted. And so this is really about, it's just a tool that I have found to be helpful and that you might find it to be helpful if you are the type of person where you're sitting at your desk working and you might find yourself getting distracted from time to time. Right? So that's a pro tip I just want to give you. Make sense? Yes, excellent. So when you think about it, and you may be familiar with this, we've gone over this before, it's the Eisenhower matrix. It just simply says there are things in your life. Let me see if I can bring this down a little bit, right? There are things in your life that are urgent, things that are not urgent. You got things that are important and things that are not important. And with this Eisenhower matrix, if it's urgent and important, we want to do it. We want to do it now, right? If it's not urgent, but it's important, we want to schedule it, right? We want to schedule it. If it's urgent, but not important, we want to delegate, have someone else do it. And then if it's not urgent and it's not important, we want to delete it, right? So really just thinking about what are those things that are those 3 to 5 things that you need to be focusing on over the next 12 to 18 hours. Those things should fall in this urgent but not important. I'm sorry, not urgent but important, right? It's not urgent. And urgent is like, if I don't do it right now, something bad is going to happen, right? Like, the bathroom is flooding. That's urgent, right? I need to take care of that right now, right? But when it comes to, for me, working on my survey tool, finishing this website, sending out this proposal, those were top 3 things that were most important over the last 12 to 18 hours. That wasn't necessarily urgent, but it was important, so I scheduled it. So when you think about how you spend your time throughout the day, what percentage of your time are you in each block? Not urgent, not important is social media, checking your email 100 times a day, right? Like that stuff down here. And this is the stuff that we want to delete, or we want to say, hey, it's not urgent, it's not important. I'm going to time block. I'm going to spend 10 minutes doing this on my break. And it's scheduled. You can know when you're going to do it. Things that are urgent, but they're not important, right? Can you delegate those? Right? Is there someone else? So, man, it's urgent. I need to get my backyard fixed up, but it's not necessarily super important, but it's urgent. Can I call my landscaper? Can I call a handyman? Can I delegate that to someone else so I'm not spending my time doing the not important? Who can I get to do this for me? And so this is just a helpful tool. You may have seen it before. It's very old. It's an old tool that a lot of people use to manage their task management system. And it really speaks to living an intentional life, focusing on your priorities. The majority of the time I spend, I want to spend the majority of my time, 80% of my time over here on this not urgent but important. These are the 3 to 5 things I need to get done over the next 12 to 18 hours. Thoughts, questions? You've seen this before, I know. Some of you all have. If this is your first time, I'm glad I can introduce it to you. So the question that we started off with is simply, when you think about this next quarter, what is something that you need to stop doing? It might, we're not talking necessarily about habits. This is more like things that you're spending your time and energy on. That's not actually moving you closer to the goal. What do you need to stop doing? The reason I'm bringing this to you all today is because I just had this conversation with my coach. We met, when did we meet? Last week, Thursday? And this is what he challenged me with. He said, Seth, what are you going to stop doing by September? And we came up with a long list of things. And I came up with a list of everything that I'm doing. And then I had to say, okay, of everything that I'm doing, what of those things falls outside of the top 3? And if it falls outside of the top 3, then for the quarter, I need to stop doing it. And it doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it today, but it means I need to exit. I need to ramp this thing down so that by September, I'm no longer doing it.
All right, so one thing that I know is I've been self-sabotaging lately.
Mm-hmm.
Focusing definitely on the mental noise and finding reasons for not doing what I know I want.
Yep.
The thing that I've been wanting to do forever is to enroll and do my MSW.
Okay.
I know that with that clinical license, I'll be able to open my practice, which I can't do right now, which will then provide me the flexibility to choose my clientele and eventually create my own schedule.
Okay.
With that being said, with the shift that I'm undergoing right now in my family, in my life, that impacts my finances. I've been more focusing on, hey, why would I want to go to school? My daughter is starting university. Let me give her time for that. And yet I know in the long run it's going to impact me as well, because the longer I wait, and I know this, but I'm like, how am I going to manage all this? Because financially, I never wanted to apply for a student loan. But now the position that I'm in requires that she has to apply for a student loan.
Okay.
And somehow I can't live with that. So I'm like, instead of me pursuing my own, let me give it to her, then I'll see later. But that later, I don't know how it's gonna.
If it's gonna come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So you gotta prayerfully wrestle with that. Prayerfully wrestle with that. Make a decision. Lord, help me to make a decision from my heart, not from my head. What feels like the move that I need to make. Order my steps, make it clear. There's not a right or wrong answer. It's just what is most aligned with where you are in this season of your life right now. Right? So if you do it and you support her, that's nothing wrong with that. If you don't do it and you go back to school, nothing wrong with that. It's just around alignment. What is most aligned with who I am right now, right? What I would want to encourage you to do as you think about this list is to create a long list of all of the things that you are spending time and energy on, right? You might have personal, professional, family, extracurricular, all of the things that you're spending time and energy on, right? And then I want you to, after you create this long list, try to number them or list them in what you feel is order of priority, like most important to least important. I don't necessarily put family on there, right? Because family is like number 1, number 2. God is like number 1, number 2. So I don't necessarily put family on there unless there is like something specific with your family that you're working on. For example, Simone, you're in the process of moving. Right? So yeah, that might go on the list. Getting your family resituated, getting your family reacclimated, right? That's a major transition, a major project, right? It won't be forever. It's time bound. One day everyone will be settled and you'll be back into the rhythm of, life. But that might go on there for now. What I want you to do is I want you to kind of order them in the ideal state of priority. Ideal meaning if I could choose, this is how I would prioritize them. And then I want you to draw a line under number 3. And anything that falls below the line, I want you to really have a tough conversation with yourself, with God, with your partner, your spouse, your children. I want you to have a tough conversation around, is this something I need to be spending time, energy, resources on right now? And the reason I say this, I believe it, and it's something that I'm working towards, and that is, and I've mentioned this to you all before, you can do one thing exceptionally well, extraordinarily well. You can do 2 things above average, pretty good. You can do 3 things average. You add a 4th thing to that, to your list, then you start to experience diminishing returns. Then you start to experience just not getting the return on the time investment. You're diluting your time. So think about the average person spends about 2,000 hours a year working. That's 40 hours a day for 56, I think it's around 56 weeks. So on average, we spend 40 hours a day. That would be 80, 120, 160 hours a month. 160 times 3, so it's about 480 hours a quarter. So for the next 12 weeks, you have about 480 hours, and these are your working hours, that I want you to think about. 12 weeks. What are the top 3 things that you want to fit into those 480 hours? So obviously, dinner time with your family doesn't fall into those 480 hours. Weekend, trips in church doesn't fall into those 480 hours. Waking up at 5 o'clock, 6 a.m. and going to work out doesn't fall into those 480 hours. It's really your working hours from 8 to 5, right? 5 days a week, 7 days a week. 5 days a week, 4 weeks a month. I'm like butchering this math right now, y'all. And y'all just looking at me struggle. Ain't nobody coming to help. Right? Yes. So we got 40 times 4. No. We got 40 times 12. Yeah. Okay. I'm going the right way. Right? 12 weeks. So think about this. And anything that falls below number 3, ask yourself, is this something I need to even have on my list? Maybe I need to wait on number 4 until I get number 2 done. And once I get number 2 done, I'll move it up. I'll bump the list up. Now, this would not be like Jason, you would not be, or, Jason dropped off, Ed, you would not put, you're bugging out on this. Right? It's called bugging out, right?
Yes.
Right? So is that your main business?
Yes.
Right. So bugging out would not be number 1. I don't want you to put your job as number 1. I want you to put a project in your job as number 1.
Okay, got it.
So Simone, you wouldn't put being a dentist as number 1. You just wouldn't, right? I would want you to put, like, what specifically about being a dentist are you trying to focus on, improve in? What goal are you trying to accomplish in that role? And whatever that is, it would go there. Now, for someone in your situation where you're a dentist, you work, you might possibly work 40 hours a week, give or take a few. Some of your work may be pretty especially if you're like cleaning teeth, right? It's very similar, x-rays, surgeries, dental surgeries, that type of thing. It might be pretty standard. But if you're thinking to yourself like, well, actually we're trying to expand, we're trying to grow, we're trying to buy a practice, we're trying to do this, like you might start to think about it a little bit differently. And is there something that you want to focus on, a goal that you want to accomplish over the next 12 weeks? Does this make sense?
Absolutely.
Make sense? Make sense?
It does. I think for me right now, since we do have that long-term goal of opening a practice, but getting started with the practice that I'm going to work with now, it's a new practice, so just kind of learning everyone and teaching them how I work, kind
Yeah.
of thing, so we can see how to
Yep.
gel together
Yep.
to make it just to make it cohesive. And I have one goal that I think right off the bat, like my boss, I need to ask for intraoral camera because I was talking to the staff. I went there today to just check things out, meet the staff, and so forth. And I'm like, I need an intraoral camera just to take pictures of the teeth to show different things. So that's one thing I'll be praying for. But that's an easy thing. I asked for
Yep.
it. He either says yes or he says no. So put that on the list first so it gets bumped off quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And you might even say, man, my 12-week goal is to really get acclimated to this new practice. I want to connect with all of the staff. I want to know their names. I want to know their spouses' names. I want to know their kids. Like, I really want to ingratiate myself into this new environment, right? Whatever that might look like for you, whatever makes sense for you, and whatever aligns with your values. So think about it beyond like, oh, okay, yeah, dentist goes there, right? Well, no. Like, what's the goal? Right? How are you moving the needle to become a better dentist, a better leader, a better practitioner, a better, individual within the realm of being a dentist? And what is a specific goal for the next 12 weeks? And anything that falls below the line, right? By the grace of God, we want to stop. We want to pause. Right? Not forever, but just for now. And then every day when I'm waking up, I'm asking myself the $1 million question: what are the 3 to 5 things I need to do over the next 12 to 18 hours that will move the needle for these 3 things right here? This is what I'm asking. Right? What do I need to do over the next 12 to 18 hours that will move the needle for these 3 goals? Right? And I'm going to write those things on sticky notes. I'm going to write them on my computer. I might even write them on my arm so I can remember them. Right? Whatever you need to do, write them down. Keep them in front of you. Go ahead, Sam.
This may sound like a redundant question, but for my podcast, I know that with the skills and the talents that my kids have in terms of camera use, editing, and all that, they will be great assets in terms of supporting me as they edit and the whole 9 years. With that being said, I know how much time it requires for all that to happen, which I'm afraid it may take away from maybe their own goals. And their own things that they aspire to be while they support what I will deem a family empire that we're building / legacy. How can I work around that mindset?
Have a conversation with them. Do you know what your kids' goals are? And are their goals in alignment with the podcast?
One of them, yes.
Okay. Having that conversation. Having that conversation with them, and just working it out together. You don't have to decide for them, and I don't necessarily want you to impose your goals on your young adult children. right? So having a family,
That's where I'm at for sure, because I know their skills. They can definitely be a great support, and we can make it a sort of a family thing, so to speak.
yep,
At the same time, it's not really a family thing.
yep, yep. Yeah, I mean, I would just have a family meeting and say, hey, this is what, where do we want to be? What do you want to accomplish in 12 weeks? By the end of September, what are some things? And you just kind of share, you discuss, you talk about it. You know, if there's opportunities to collaborate, then great. If not, no worries. All right. But we all want to support each other however we can.
Thanks.
Yeah. So this is the assignment. This is the homework that we're working on, right? I want you to start to kind of think about it, put this into practice, right? 12 weeks. What are my big goals? What do I need to stop doing? That's the question we're answering. What do I need to stop doing that will move me closer to my goal? Right? Less is more. There's a great quote that I use whenever I'm working with organizations and helping them with strategic planning. And it simply says, the essence of strategy is deciding what not to do. We think strategy is about deciding what we want to do. No, the essence of strategy is deciding what not to do. Right? So we are no longer going to be spending our time, energy, resources on these other areas. We're staying focused. We're deciding what we want to do and what we do not want to do. All right, SJ, makes sense?
Yep, makes sense. Thank you.
Yep, perfect, wonderful. All right, so have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. We'll be on Sunday morning by the grace of God. All right, so if you're around, join. You can always invite a friend. And if anything comes up, feel free to reach out and text me. And if you haven't already, text me your 12-week goals. Please do that so I can lock them in. All right? Wonderful. Well, have a great evening, and we'll see you Sunday. Bye, everyone. All right. Bye.